For more than 2 years, a brutal civil war has decimated the state of Syria. Clashes between government and rebel forces have taken place in towns and cities across the country, and neither of the parties have shown any signs of backing down. When an armed conflict continues for such an extended period, it inevitably draws in outside intervention, and there is plenty of external influences in the Syrian civil war. The Iranians and Hezbollah, and to some extent the Russians, have backed the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad. The rebel forces have received support from fellow Sunni countries such as Turkey and Saudi Arabia, but they also received support from various jihadists and Salafi organizations. So far, Europe and the United States have stayed out of the conflict, but now even that is in question. For a long time, the Europeans and the Americans maintained the red line that, if crossed, would force them to reconsider intervention. That red line was the use of chemical weapons, and this was based on two reasons. One, genuine concerns that the weapons could fall in the wrong hands and be targeted against Europe. And the second reason was that everyone assumed that al-Assad would not use chemical weapons because his strategy depended on avoiding European and American intervention. So this was a well-sound red line because it showed that the West took an active measure while avoiding the risk of actually engaging in the conflict. In the recent weeks, things have changed, and there are growing concerns that al-Assad may have used chemical weapons, and this brings up the question: should the United States intervene in Syria? What are the arguments to support it, and what are the arguments to abandon this strategy? From a moral perspective, US intervention could save thousands upon thousands of lives. The conflict has already claimed the lives of 100,000 people, and that number is growing by the day. US intervention could put a halt to that, and yes, the Syrian government is corrupt and brutal, and they have committed many atrocities against their own citizens. For example, in 1982, between 10,000 and 40,000 civilians were killed in the city of Hama because they opposed the government. There are also many parallels between Syria and Iraq. Saddam Hussein also conducted massacres and violated human rights with brutality. Unlike Saddam's government, al-Assad is despised for his secular nature and for his Arab socialist ideology. And that's why the bulk of the Syrian rebels are hardline Islamists like Wahhabis and Salafis and even Muslim Brotherhood members. The secular, liberal and democratic opposition is very disorganized and plays no role in the rebellion. And this is what the mainstream media missed out on in the Arab Spring. They assumed that the oppositions and the rebels were led by liberal and democratic forces. The fact is, as time went by, more and more Orthodox Islamists joined the Syrian opposition, and now the opposition is dominated by the religious faction. That brings us to the strategic perspective. The United States has the capability to crush al-Assad's government, but like in Iraq, setting up a new type of government is extremely difficult, especially since the Syrian revolution was hijacked by radical Islamists. So the new Syrian government will likely be conservative Islamic, and in the long term that will have blowback effects against the United States and its allies, just like the Islamic Revolution in Iran. Besides the strategic and moral arguments, there is also the tactical perspective. Syria is not like Libya. The US and its allies cannot just go in, take out al-Assad, confiscate the chemical weapons and form a liberal democracy and thereby pacify the country. It did not work in Iraq, and it certainly did not work in Afghanistan. Some policymakers have been arguing for a surgical strike on the chemical facilities. Now, on paper, it sounds like a good plan, but in reality, the intel of the locations of those weapons is not always reliable, and we have seen that in Iraq. Plus, a surgical strike on a chemical facility could actually release the chemicals before they burn, and this would result in massive civilian casualties. Equally important is the fact that Syria has a robust air defense system, one that cannot simply be destroyed without heavy civilian casualties. And even if the air defense system was destroyed, that would only be the first step. The country is in all-out war, and there are no safe zones, and sending in special forces to seize the chemical weapons would only work if the airports and the roads were secured, and to secure those logistics, the United States would have to secure the countryside. So this isn't a job for special forces. It would require the US to commit large numbers of manpower, just like the invasion of Iraq. And just like Iraq, even if the leader is removed from power, his followers will continue an underground resistance. Basically, the US and its European allies cannot afford a military intervention in Syria, because they will quickly find themselves trapped in the Middle East, and the US will need to make long-term commitments to the occupation of Syria, just like in Iraq and Afghanistan. And this would further damage the geopolitics of the US, because it distracts Washington from other more pressing geopolitical matters. Sometimes moral values and geopolitics clash. The founder of geopolitics, Niccolo Machiavelli, confronted this question and became infamous for his strategic precedence over morality. The civil war in Syria will continue, and it will claim even more civilian lives, unless the United States intervenes on behalf of the Islamists and helps to crush al-Assad, only to hand power to the orthodox Islamists, which will eventually come back to haunt the United States. So what do you think? What are your arguments for or against intervention in Syria? Let me know. This was a Caspian report by me, Shirvan. Thank you for watching, and Sagol.